Dice Company contains fantasy violence, mature themes, and unapologetic bickering. No feelings were hurt in the making of it, but listener discretion is advised. Dice Company will always be free, but it's not free to make. Please consider supporting us on Patreon or Apple Podcasts and get access to our weekly roundtable show Extra Roll. Just follow any of the links in the show notes for this chapter.
Ladies and gentlemen, Harry has brought to my attention a grievous misuse of a spell
Sacre bleu.
during the battle between Vander and Petren and the Bounder with the Red Blade.
I am shocked.
Petren, talk to me.
Hello.
Or Dave, I should say, seeing as we're doing Red Guards. Dave, talk to me about the Awaken spell.
The Awaken spell?
Yeah.
Without your notes.
The Awaken spell can be cast on any creature with an intelligence lower than 3.
Mm-hmm.
See, the reason why I tripped is because it has a casting time of 8 hours.
But I've got it in my Staff of the Woodlands.
Correct.
But you got it in Staff of the Woodlands, which is why I took it back. That's why I had to look up.
I see. Right.
There is another effect that you may not have considered.
Mm-hmm.
Have you read the spell to the very end?
The awakened beast or plant is charmed by you for 30 days or until you or your companions do anything harmful to it. When the charmed condition ends, the awakened creature chooses whether to remain friendly to you based on how you treated it while it was charmed.
So a note, this is not a spell that wears off after a certain amount of time. You have created a sentient creature in Cuthbert. Cuthbert now has full-blown personhood.
If he wasn't evil before, he is now. Is that what we're saying?
I would like to add to that all of the times that Petren has ummed and ahed about Tok's creation of personhood, and on a whim, on a bridge in a storm, he grants sentience to his closest friend, which is sort of sweet.
And also I told him that I liked him better when he was stupid.
You did. He will remember that.
You sound like my dad.
Who also did cast Awaken in a way.
Yeah. I was just a lump of wood until that happened.
Now you're a real boy.
I'm a real boy.
Because he is sentient, he transitions from just a familiar to an NPC familiar, which means technically I control Cuthbert going forward, although
Yes, please.
as he is your familiar, you can still do all the things that you would normally do with a familiar. And then, once the time has passed, depending on how he's been treated, he will make his decision.
I think it was Keats, wasn't it, who said, "Oh, balls."
But you see why I found that so particularly delicious there, Dave.
Yes, I do.
So just a quick recap. Harry betrays Dave, actually messes the original attempt to stab him in the back, but nevertheless
Catches him on the rebound.
catches him on the rebound. And then Dom introduces Flag on the play, at which time we get an enormous effect, which is ultimately going to lead through a series of mishaps to Cuthbert becoming intelligent and ultimately the supervillain I called at the start.
It was always thus.
Well done, there is this
And
magnificent.
with that, on with the show! Previously, on Small Embers, Vander and Petren cling to the precipice of a vast gorge, hoping the fleet will come. Yet while the storm rages outside, another storm brews within. Petren's mind is plagued by dark visions and terrible dreams. Petren, you awake with a start, your body covered in sweat. Next to you, Vander gently sleeps. Potentially. It's always tough to tell with him. You can't remember exactly what it was you were dreaming about. But outside you hear the wind howling, and a quick look to the horizon tells you it's almost dawn. The wind kicks up, and you realise it's not just nature creating the sound. A strange, undulating sound wave draws your attention to a small, spinning circle of blackened smoke. It grows in size, and then, from deep within the torrent's centre, steps Alexa Storm. Fuck. Oh, hello, Petren. There you are.
What? How are you here? What are you doing here?
As you saw, I was working with old Heron. He's got quite the temper on him. We were looking for something so he could complete his ritual of ascension. It did not go well. He was quite angry to find out the information he'd been given was fake. Threw quite the tantrum, in fact.
Why would you help someone to do the ritual of ascension, Alexa? You know what happened better than anyone.
I do. It seemed interesting. He has such raw, unadulterated power. I haven't seen that in so long. And I find people like that, great people, not necessarily good people, but great people, they live the most interesting lives, and they make the biggest changes to the world. You can see how that would be interesting to me, can't you?
I can't, Alexa. I don't know how you can describe him as a great person. To me, greatness is about bringing people together, creating something good, a legacy or I don't know. But it's not greatness, it's just power. And what's the point of power if you're not going to use it for something useful?
Give me a persuasion check.
Not my best skill. Oh, natural 20.
Nice.
20.
I suppose you're right. You must remember, I was trapped down there for so many years, all alone. My father, and everything terrible that happened. I think perhaps I got a bit carried away. I can only apologise. It was a mistake.
Petren looks almost physically taken aback by that statement. But he gathers himself together quite quickly and says, Oh, well, thank you for your apology, Alexa. It means a lot, actually. It's very, very good of you to do that. And I'm glad that you're reflecting and thinking and making some decisions about what you want to do with your life now that you've got that freedom, I suppose.
I am trying to make decisions. And I thought I'd pay you a visit, because I sensed there might have been something important happening here. Has something important happened?
Well, Alexa, I think there's a war happening. We don't have a lot of experience of war and this kind of scale of events. All the events in my life have felt quite personal. This feels like there's grand happenings afoot, and I think I've lost my moorings in terms of what's important. One thing that did happen that's been troubling me throughout the night. Vander and I had been in a fight, and the fight had ended. We were looking out into the night, and I saw something in the air, a shimmering form of a person that I know, but it's a person that I know who's dead. And I saw him in the air, and seconds later we were attacked by an airship, and it was like he was a harbinger of something. But that's not possible, is it, Alexa?
She looks around the cave for a moment. Who was this person? Describe him to me.
He was a sort of friend of ours. He was a member of a group called the Ungovernables. They were allies of the Order of the Heron, led by Bartable Schultz, and we had word not long since that they'd all been killed. He was a tiefling. He had red skin, and he had horns, but he was always filing them down, so you couldn't always tell that they were horns. I think he was quite a troubled person. I felt, when I was close to him, I felt a terrible sense of sadness. I would have liked to help him, but I never really had a chance.
An offspring of the lower planes. Dead. but appearing still. That sounds interesting to me. Very interesting. Thank you, Petren. And I would like to extend thanks beyond just this meeting. Thank you for always seeing the best in me, even if I don't always live up to it. We all make mistakes, don't we?
Starting to realise that it's not possible to live and not make mistakes. Thought maybe it was once, but I don't think it is. Alexa, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Now that you're out of that crypt, that cavern, will you age? Will you live a normal lifespan?
If we judge it on history, I doubt it. I have not aged for decades, even before I was cast into the crypt. It seems unlikely that I will now. It is lonely sometimes, but it is made easier by meeting people like yourself.
One thing, I don't know if you want advice from me on just some furball from the back of beyond, but one thing, if I could give you a piece of advice, I understand that might be lonely sometimes, but you've got the gift of time. Us mortals, and humans in particular, they have much shorter lives than furbolgs, and I've noticed this. They do reckless things because they're short of time and they want to fit things in. You've got time to think and reflect and decide what's right for you. You don't have to rush off mad for power like that emperor. You can watch for a while, see what you think, and then make a choice in time, because time's what you've got a lot of.
Give me another persuasion check.
Oh, it's another natural 20.
Unbelievable.
And he turns her good.
Oh my god.
I think I've just sorted the campaign for us, guys.
I will think on what you've said, and you've said much. And she reaches into her armour, just behind her breastplate, and she pulls out a small coin, and she offers it to you. If you are ever in trouble that you see no escape from, you can say my name into this coin, and I will come to you wherever you are in an instant, and offer all of the help that I have available to me.
Thank you, Alexa. That's quite some gift. I don't know what I can offer you in return, except I promise to always think the best of you, even when others won't.
I think I shall take some time to consider things, to watch for a while. It seems there might be a mystery surrounding your friend the tiefling. I think perhaps a little investigation of that wouldn't go amiss. But you don't need to worry about me anymore. I will be fine.
Well, good luck, Alexa. Hopefully, this coin you've given me, hopefully I won't ever need to use it. And then, when all this is over, I'll just use it and I'll call you to say hello.
I'd like that very much. Goodbye.
Look after yourself.
And with a blip, she disappears.
There's a long silence, then finally,
"You make dangerous friends, Petren,"
says Vander softly, his eyes still only half open, but looking at Petren.
And Petren doesn't turn his eyes away from the fire, the embers of the fire that he's looking into, and he just says, "I've said my piece on recklessness, Vander.
"Just know that none of us can help you with that one. And as long as your life is, curiosity will get you killed more quickly than a human's recklessness, if I'm any judge."
Well, you'll be able to tell my bones that I made a mistake, won't you?"
"I would, though I don't relish the task."
You like some breakfast, Vander? I'll see what I can rustle up, shall I?
"A fine idea, Petren. I fancy soup."
3 days have passed. Tok and Seek-Sorrow work tirelessly to resurrect the fallen spear of shale from its wreckage. Rising from twisted metal and shattered dreams, the airship is reborn, rechristened as the Eulalia. Command passes to Sebastian, Bramble and Grizz. Their mission critical. Reach the elves of Lanacel before the Empire's shadow falls upon them. Before they depart, Bramble leaves them with a warning.
Things haven't been right in Concordia. Avaros asked me to send over this message. We've been seeing a lot of travellers. Started with Fey folk, and then more strange creatures in the realm of chaos and the Shadowlands. Avaros has learnt some of the basics of it. They're fleeing a shadow which has spread across their lands, and I'm worried that it's coming to Concordia. It all starts the same way. A hornless demon appears from nowhere, speaking riddles of an oncoming threat. Then the shadow appears, and the stories end.
Having left, the search begins. The United Fleet scours every canyon, every crater, every whisper of hope. Somewhere below, Sky Marshal Finnick and Petren cling to the precipice of a vast gorge.
Vander finishes making a note in a small book and closes it with a snap. As the book disappears into Vander's robe, Petren, you can see a little bit of the title. It read something like The Little Book of Pain. And Vander then raises his hand over his head, and as you've seen a number of times over the previous hours, a jet of red light sparks from his hand and shoots skywards, exploding in a small firework-esque display.
They still struggle to find us, Petren. This is becoming a little infuriating.
I'm sure they'll be along soon, Banner. Seek-Sorrow's navigation's really been coming along, I think. He's been trying very hard at this, what do you call it? Skymanship? I don't know. I'm sure they'll be here any time now.
The Navy will not be along in a second, Petren. Precision! Precision is key.
Well, I suppose I'd bow to your knowledge of naval matters, Vander, not being something I've a great deal of experience myself. You ever get seasick or skysick? How do you deal with that?
Vander's still kind of vaguely purring at your last comments, but he does return himself to the world of the sentient.
I've never felt that kind of sickness before, Petren. Mostly because I suspect I have other pains to focus on. If I've ever been seasick, it would be the least of my ailments.
I didn't mean to read over your shoulder. Were you writing something down about your pain?
I was scribbling a few entries, yes. I've been cataloguing my various ailments of late. There may be a pattern to them, something that I can head off at the pass, so to speak.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know if you know, but Tok has an awful lot of fungi growing in his workshop down there, and he let me have a good look quite recently, and I collected a few samples. I've made some wonderful teas from some of the various varieties of fungus. I believe many of them might have pain-killing properties or anti-inflammatory properties or possibly even just numbing to reduce some of the discomfort you're feeling. I'll let you try some of them. They're also extremely tasty, I might add.
You had me at hallucinogenic tea, Petren.
Don't think I mentioned hallucinogenic.
And yet you implied it so aptly.
Well, I'd be more than welcome to give them a try when we're back on the Sterling, which, as I say, should be any time now. Is that in the distance there?
Vander, without moving his head, looks.
And you see, cruising against the grey skies, the Blackwood ship, formerly the Vox Domini, honing into view with Seek-Sorrow and crew aboard.
Cruising through the skies at the helm of his own ship, wearing his new bicorn hat, is Captain Seek-Sorrow. Standing next to him is the automaton of as yet undefined rank, perhaps the first mate, one Mr. Tok. As Seek Sorrow sails through the skies, he turns to Tok and says, Tok, what do we do about the name? I don't really like about Vox. I don't like the Vox Domini. That feels not right. But can you change the name of ships? Is that meant to be bad luck or something?
My reading of the books of Elias the Wanderer suggests that ships may change names infrequently.
Well, it feels like one of those times, I think, because otherwise it feels like we're on an Empire ship, and that's very much not what we're about.
I would find it to be acceptable.
All right then. Well, so as you know, Tok, I like to bring a bit of levity to things. I want to, break out of the Seek Sorrow mold. But on this occasion, I think something a bit more serious might be required. And if I'm honest, I can feel a growing sense of anger in me at these people, at the Empire, the Emperor. I don't like to find this in myself, but yeah, I do feel angry with them, and I feel like we need to put a finish to this. So I've got a slightly Seek Sorrow-ish name for this ship. Just wondered if I could run it past you.
That would be possible.
All right then, Tok. What do you think of the Gravedigger?
I would find it to be acceptable.
All right then. Seek Sorrow turns his eyes to the horizon.
It is good that you mention levity, Seek Sorrow. And Tok will show him a small, it's a little bit of the armor plate near to his belt that it can actually is like a little flap that can lift up. Underneath there are 2 switches. The first switch, Seek Sorrow, will enable enhanced jumping. It has strengthened your leg muscles. The second switch is the levity that I referred to. It will enable you to levitate. You are now a airship, Seek Sorrow. Unrated.
Wow, Tok. I might need some lessons in using that. I don't want to float off my own ship.
That would be advised.
Brilliant. All right.
So you can cast the jump and levitate spells, basically.
God.
You get 5 charges. Jump takes 1 charge. Levitate takes 2 charges, and you get 1d4 plus 1 more charges every day.
That's super awesome.
You have been following from a distance some bright sparks.
They look like, basically fireworks.
You've been following the fireworks, and you see down in a makeshift camp, very neat makeshift camp, I should point out,
Quite right.
your friends Petren and Vander.
Well, at the risk of breaking some of their very neat makeshift camp, the Gravedigger is going to try and I'm going to say park, but I don't think that's the right word for a ship.
It's canon.
But moor, it doesn't sound like landing on the ground, doesn't sound like mooring either. I do like to find a good mooring for my ship when I can. Basically, I'm going to park the Gravedigger as neatly as I can because I want to show off. Seek Sorrow wants to show off to Sky Marshal Finnick that he's now the king of a bigger ship. With his hands behind his back and his bicorn hat at a jaunty angle, Seek Sorrow says, Tok, signal the other ships to stay in the air. I want to go down and talk to the Sky Marshal.
Okay, Tok and one of the other automatons have a sort of an attempt at replicating Seek Sorrow's semaphore to the rest of the air fleet.
Oh no, he's gonna
Excellent. Give me a performance check, please, Tok.
Oh god.
That is not one of Tok's specialties.
Let's see if your glowing blue armor helps you out here.
Well, on the plus side, I should get advantage because I'm getting help. But
Yep.
okay, I rolled a 2 and a 12, so that's a 12.
Seek Sorrow, you see Tok performing a very, very loose interpretation of the semaphore messaging, which just about gives the information required for the rest of the fleet to remain in the air.
The rest of the fleet will start doing just random stuff.
They're just kind of hovering, but it looks very disorganized. But no one's crashed into anyone or anything like that, so you're fine.
Seek Sorrow guides the Gravedigger down, not landing on the neat camp, but as close as he can, so that he can swing down happily and talk to Vander and Petren.
You land in a clearing just to the north of the camp area, which is just enough space for you to fit on, although it is quite precarious.
And so Seek Sorrow swings down on a rope, naturally, and Vander is just admiring this amazing ship, and then...
Is he?
I'm sure he is. swinging as fast as a bird of prey and then landing as light as a feather comes Seek Sorrow, who steps onto the ground next to Vander and says, "All right, Vander, I want a ship. I'm a sky captain."
We won a ship, Seek Sorrow, in an action that required the entire weight of the fleet, though it is a fine craft. And a fine hat,
says Vander, looking upwards at Seek Sorrow's hat.
At this moment, Tok sort of descends with his cape blowing in the wind behind him, and then lands just behind Seek Sorrow.
"This is my first mate, Vander. It's actually Tok, look."
Inquiry. Is Seek Sorrow a captain or a commander, Vander?
Good question, yeah.
I assume we are skipping over the advent of Tok's ability to fly.
That is correct.
Vander tries to tap his cane ostentatiously, but of course it just sinks into the mud.
Wow,
he says, looking down.
Seek Sorrow would now like to press his levitate button.
And Vander, you watch as Seek Sorrow, for some reason, just levitates a few feet off the ground.
"I can fly too, Vander."
Vander doesn't address either of them.
Petren, I wonder if you would join me aboard the Sterling for some tea.
"How'd you get down, Tok? I want some tea."
Absolutely, Vander. Some mushroom tea. I'll get right onto it.
My senses would be most appreciative. Gentlemen, I will be holding a meeting in the captain's cabin of the Sterling, the flagship of our navy, in half an hour. I trust you will all be there.
I would find that to be acceptable.
"We will, Sky Marshal." And he lands down and bows very formally and then walks very stiffly back towards his own ship.
You all gather in the captain's quarters aboard the Sterling for a meeting with Sky Marshal Finnick.
Gentlemen, I must congratulate you all.
Says Vander, looking around at the array of captains from the various airships.
We took a number of valuable prizes, which will bolster our numbers. A few ships were also lost, though I am pleased to say the crew of those ships has been effectively decanted onto new commands.
Admiral Vander, the Spear of Shale has been partially repaired.
That is good news, Tok. My chief concern, though, is one of time.
And Vander looks back down to his maps.
We must continue on our course. We have obviously had a small foray onto the land and a little adventure of our own, have we not, Petren? But we must quickly engage with the forces here.
Query, Vander, how did you become separated from the Sterling?
A conversation to be had after our official meeting, Tok. But I will regale you with the facts as they concern you particularly.
I will find that to be acceptable.
Of course.
Petren looks at Vander quite meaningfully there, but I don't suppose Tok notices.
No.
Petren, you feel a writhing against your chest as Cuthbert is moving unusually.
Petren has a look down his tunic and says, "You're right there, Cuthbert. You quite comfortable?"
He's spinning at high speed. The skin under his fur, it looks like it's almost bubbling or mutating. You look underneath his mouth and you can see a sac, similar to like a frog's ribbit sac, is forming.
Oh.
And his forehead begins to stretch out, making it much wider than before as his hind legs extend. And he says,
"Oh, crumbs. I'm in quite a bit of pain."
And he quickly removes Cuthbert from inside his cloak and because he's expanding, kind of places him on the floor and says, Cuthbert, what can I do? What do you need?"
"I don't know. I think I'm changing."
I think Petren, for the lack of any better ideas, is going to just cast Cure Wounds on him, just to an attempt to kind of ease any pain that he might be feeling. So he places his hands on Cuthbert and uses that spell.
Oh, that is much better. Oh, there we are. Marvellous, yes. Oh, my paws look a bit different. How do I look?
and he kind of stands before you on the floor with his arms splayed wide. He is now a Brumalak.
Pandering.
Absolutely not. I'm not the one who cast a spell on him.
Seek Sorrow just leans into Tok, because Tok seems to normally know about mechanical, things happening in the world, and goes, Tok, what the bloody hell is going on?
I believe that Cuthbert has changed form.
Why and how?
Unknown. Would Tok recognize a Brumalak with his nature skill?
Yeah, give me a nature check. Nice and easy one. 12. DC 12.
Tok rolled 29.
I mean, you know everything about Brumalaks, mate.
No, I'll have to Google them.
Petren's baffled. Do you know why this has happened, Cuthbert? Have you chosen to do this, or is this...
No, I've felt rather unusual ever since you cast your arcane powers upon me. I don't know, perhaps this is the natural progression of such things. Thank you, though, for healing me. That is a very kind and thoughtful thing to do.
Of course.
Seek Sorrow, he appears to be a Brumalak. I believe it is of Petren's doing. Tok says it subtly, so that everyone can hear.
Oh, right.
He stretches his hind legs a bit, walks around as he's getting his bearing, and he looks up at Vander.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Vander thinks back to the sentient rat he recently killed and the possible connection he doesn't want to reveal there.
Petren, your pet is disturbing the meeting,
says Vander, shooing it with his cane.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
And he scrambles back up and clambers back into Petren's tunic. Only this time he sits with his head rested over the top so he can see what's going on.
Now Vander turns to his shoulder where a small, normal-shaped Bellerophon now sits.
Watch him.
And two boggly eyes turn in your direction.
The meeting is adjourned in any case. To your ships, captains, to your ships.
Yes, Sky Marshal. And they all filter out, leaving the four of you alone together at last.
Allow me to start with an apology. I was to join you on the final action to seal my victory as the Sky Marshal, but I was, of course, absent. Other matters arose. Nevertheless, I see you are now in command of a ship, Seek Sorrow, a matter I wish to discuss. But the tale I will hear first. How fared you?
And maybe as you're chatting, you can hear Petren muttering quietly to Cuthbert. And he says, "You see, Cuthbert, they're weirdly obsessed with hierarchy. Vander can't be happy when Seek Sorrow is succeeding and his rank's going up. And vice versa, Seek Sorrow is very interested in getting Vander's approval. They don't seem to realise that if they just enjoyed their own successes and enjoyed other people's successes, they'd be much happier. I don't get it at all. It's not how we do things as furbolgs."
No, it's quite fascinating to watch, isn't it? I wonder if one of them might betray the other. Perhaps there might be some violence. We should continue watching.
Oh, I hope not.
And likewise, Vander has a brief conversation with Bellerophon.
He believes he still talks with Cuthbert, where, in all likelihood, he doesn't. How curious.
Please raise the volume of your voices. I am unable to hear.
Father, why are they talking to their animals?
It is a human and furbolg foible.
Understood.
I think we're getting a bit off track here, guys, but basically, Vander, there was a bear and a badger and a hare and a statue and a ship made of spanners, and then we won this ship, and now it's called the Gravedigger. So well done us, basically.
Seek Sorrow's summation is correct, yet lacks details.
Gentlemen, I have a tale of my own to tell, which explains, or which will explain, my absence in the final action. A moment before we boarded the ship, Petren alerted me to the presence of an automaton aboard. An automaton who had escaped to the surface.
Vander, an automaton would not survive the fall unaided.
Would you survive the fall, Tok?
I have previously survived such a fall, Vander. I have enhanced capabilities.
Then listen on, and you will find that fact most salient. I have seen that automaton before, in a vision, Tok. In a vision I had whilst in your laboratory. What I have to say is hard, but I'll be direct, says Vander, standing up to face Tok. I know that Tick died at the hands of an automaton, Tok. A Rosian automaton with a red blade. And that image, that automaton, was described exactly by Petren in the moments before you boarded the ship in our final action. There was no time. I knew that justice must be done, so I took Petren and pitched us both over the side of the Sterling and into the mists below to give chase. Sometime later, we met the automaton on a bridge in the rain. We fought there, Tok, and I am delighted to tell you, we won. At the time, I thought I was taking vengeance for you, killing the wayward automaton who maimed, inhumed Tick. But now I believe something else. I believe that your creator, Tok, created 2 Ticks. The first was not yourself, but another. Another without your curiosity, but rather a dark soul. And that automaton created a further sibling. This underling automaton is the one I met on the bridge and dispatched. I'm afraid to tell you, Tok, that the killer of Tick remains. An automaton with a red blade. An automaton called Torren.
Query, what of the remains of the younger automaton?
Blown over the side of the bridge, I'm afraid.
In what location? You see Tok hovering like 2 inches above the ground.
I understand where your thoughts take you, Tok, and trust me, there are no remains to be had. Blown to smithereens and washed away in the wind and sleet of that night.
I have hypothesized the existence of a bifurcation, a horological palpiton.
Of course you have,
says Vander, trying to go with his friend on a tangent that he wasn't expecting.
There are few good outcomes, Vander.
Only one I can see, Tok. A showdown.
I find that to be acceptable.
I believe the hands of fate, Tok, were not idle in placing me outside of that showdown. I believe it is meant for you. But to other matters, says Vander, his hands twisting as his mind turns to the next subject. I would be keen to learn of your action aboard the ship. A report, if you will, Tok.
Tok goes on a long and very detailed and quite boring description of all the events that happened aboard the Vox Domini. Particularly the statues, and the sort of the magical library that they discovered, because they're, well, the things he's most interested in. He will be quite noticeably skip over a lot of details when it comes to the Concordian allies.
Vander listens intently. And then finally, as Tok brings his comments to a close, Vander speaks.
Overly long, torturous at times, but very interesting indeed. Particularly the statues.
Indeed, Vander. I have attempted to make a copy, and Tok will pass a small item to Vander, a ring with a small mark on the top, which is an emblem of a heron.
The ring in the tail.
Indeed, Vander. It has several magical properties.
The ring itself, then?
Says Vander questioningly.
A copy, Vander. The ring itself is stone. It may be examined.
Vander holds it up to the light.
An exact match.
It makes you immune to other creatures trying to read your thoughts, determine whether you're lying, know your alignment, or know your character type.
Nice.
And they can only invade your mind if you allow it. There's another bit where you can make the ring go invisible at will as well.
Vander holds the ring up to the light.
It has been many years. An exact match. Tell me about the wearer.
He turns back to you, his eyes intent.
Tok will take out his tablet, where he will try and create as close a likeness of the face of the statue as possible, and like a sort of, will summate the pose he was in.
When Vander looks at the drawing Tok makes, he starts at the hand, a hand he knows incredibly well down to every mole and pimple present on the skin, and then he moves up to look at the person themselves. And do I recognize them?
The hand is an identical match to the one that you studied for so many hours through the hole.
I included all of the minute human defects.
Very kind talk, and for once useful. But it's the face I wish to see.
And Vander gazes at the face in the image.
The face is covered by the hand. You cannot make out the details.
Vander openly grimaces as someone who's wanted information for years and feels cheated at the last moment would.
Talk, were you able to see the face in the statue?
Negative, Vander. However, there is a potential remedy.
Do go on.
Tok turns to Petren and says, Petren, the project we were progressing, is it complete?
Well, I've been practicing a little when I've had a bit of spare time, but obviously I've never actually done it.
I have 2 subjects for experimentation.
Right. Well, what do you all think? Well, Vander, Seek Sorrow, let me get your... I think what Tok's trying to say is that he suspects this statue might not be a statue. It might be a person, and I think I could use magic to turn it back into a person. I've never done it before, so I'd be worried it might go wrong. I don't know what the consequence would be. Is it... Vander, this person obviously is very important to you, so if to you the risk is worth the reward, I'll go with what you say.
Very kind of you to ask, Petren. But if I were to choose life as a statue, would mean to choose no life at all. So I say, you try whatever incantation you can, as I would greatly like to see and ultimately thank the owner of that hand.
Right, you are then. Perhaps we'd better head across to the gravedigger then, in that case.
Indeed we must.
Before we go to the gravedigger, Tok is going to go to his workshop to retrieve a couple of items and stow them in his cloak.
And with those stowed away, you decant from the Sterling over to the newly christened gravedigger. You make your way below decks, navigating the symmetrical metal corridors, the cold air pinching at your skin. Those of you who have it. You follow the trail, you pass the anvil to the rich wood study, and in the corner, next to the chair, is the statue.
Okay, Tok will, leading them there, will produce from his cloak 2 objects. One is what looks like a set of wooden armor, which he'll lay down on the floor next to the statue. And the other one is, I mean, it kind of looks like a metal rack pedestal with a bowl on the top, and inside is like a covered mass of fungus. Petren would have seen this before. It is an automaton's cranial case and brain. And Tok will say, Petren, I request that you use this, and he points at the cranial case, as a test before applying your magic to the statue.
And Petren looks a little confused and says, talk me through how that would work, Tok?
There is a malign influence in the brain. I wish it removed. Success will be detectable by Vander.
But I can only do that once.
That will not prove difficult, Petren. There is a recuperation chamber.
What now?
Merely cast the spell. I will explain the rest.
Well, all right then. And Petren goes over to the brain in a dish, and he looks a little nervous. He looks tense, and he scratches some symbols on the floor of the ship, and then tentatively reaches out and places his hand on the fungus, and you see a faint glow.
There is a warm glow over the brain in a dish, as all curses and possessions are removed.
Vander, I request detection upon this brain. you will find it has a mind.
And Vander casts Mind Spike.
Detect thoughts. Detect thoughts.
That's too much magic. There's a more efficient way of doing this.
You could kill the brain if you cast.
Yeah, don't kill the brain.
Not the quote I was expecting to hear. Don't kill the brain.
Okay. Vander casts Detect Thoughts.
And you enter the cranial case. For the second time, you get no sense of any corruption or any deity in control of this area. It has been entirely cleansed. And there is simply an automaton stood in a sandy dune.
Vander withdraws his senses.
There are no malign influences in that brain.
The spell was a success, Petren. Tok will gesture to a large chair that is in the room and will say, Petren, sit, if you will.
Can you describe the chair?
Thick metal. There are feed lines which run into the ceiling and the floor, which kind of wrap around the arms. And there are elements of it that are elements of those which are free. And it looks very much of automaton design. This is not made for comfort.
It is safe, Petren. I have used the chair continuously for 2 days.
Wait, we don't want to talk. It doesn't look natural at all. It looks fearsome.
It is a constructed artifact. That is true.
On my travels, I have seen such devices used to pass ambaric currents through criminals, but one would assume there is a different purpose for this chair.
That is correct, Vander. It is a chair of healing.
Quite different, then.
Fuck me, with friends like you, who needs enemies?
Petren looks around. Once. I'll use it once. Never again.
That's what they said.
To prepare you, please put on this armor. And Tok will pass you the wooden set of armor that was on the floor. It looks like half plate, so it's got some rigid, like a big chest piece and some plates over your shoulders and over your thighs. This oak was taken from the tree that you have been assisting with.
It's beautiful, Tolan. It's so light for armor. It's extraordinary. It's exquisite. Oh, thank you so much. I don't know what to say. Do I need this armor to sit in the chair?
Negative. It is required for combat.
Why are you giving me the armor just before I sit in the chair?
It will be required for you to sit in the chair for an hour. The armor has magical properties. An hour is sufficient to become acquainted with their magical properties. It is convenient and efficient.
Petren looks very suspicious at you as he clambers into the armor, sits down cautiously in this horrible throne.
Once he does, Tok will start explaining, but it'll probably be quite apparent to Petren what he's talking about, because the armor has a fungal infection in it, a fungus type that you're very familiar with.
Is this about my athlete's foot?
It's self-owned area. No, it uses similar spores that Petren has control over and will enhance his ability.
Ooh. Exciting.
And once you've sat in the chair, the vines from the ceiling and the floor immediately spring to life and jam themselves into the armor, and you feel a sudden pulse rushing through your body. But the armor helps protect you against any potential damage, and actually it's more like a soft vibration, like the kind of chairs you find at the airport, and actually it's a little massage. It's quite pleasant in many ways.
But despite this, you see throughout Petren's time in the chair, he has his eyes squeezed shut and every muscle in his body is rigid with tension.
And after a prerequisite amount of time, the vibrations stop, the vines recoil.
Ding!
You have the benefits of a long rest.
Well, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm very grateful for the armor. It's wonderful. I'm not sure how I feel about that chair, but I do somehow feel that I would be able to cast that spell again. So maybe now's the time to go for that statue. Petren steps towards it and repeats the steps from previously. He scratches the symbols, places his hand over the hand of the statue, covering up that Heron symbol on the ring, and waits for the glow.
Here we go. The transformation begins at the fingertips. Cold stone changing to flesh as colour bleeds back into the figure. What had been rigid softens into the subtle imperfections of living tissue. The change creeps around the body. Veins become blue-green in colour beneath almost translucent skin, as the chest begins to rise and fall beneath tentative breaths. Stone eyes flicker and contract as they meet the light. The lips tremble and part as the process completes with a sharp intake of breath. The figure stands. A human in his 50s. A magnificent mane of greying hair and a luxuriant moustache which matches. Handsome. He stretches out. Where am I? Did we win? What year is it?
A pleasure to meet you, says Vander, standing forward, partly because he wants to get a better look at the face of this person.
Is it the Lionheart?
I'll pause to see if I do recognise him.
Because you would.
You don't recognise the figure.
Unperturbed, Vander continues then.
There is no way to sugar the pill. The answer to your question is that we lost. You stand now aboard an airship, which is part of a fleet in the Second War, which has only just begun.
And the Rojan?
Gone, I'm afraid. Save for some small remnants scattered about this continent.
Curses. Who are you?
My name is Sky Marshal Vander Finnick, at your service.
And a small genuflect.
You may be familiar with my voice, as we have met before.
His eyes narrow. I think I would have remembered a voice as memorable as yours. Where have we met, pray tell?
It would have changed during the course of our acquaintance. I was once the young noble Cyril Highmore, until I was captured and tortured by one I'm sure you'll be familiar with. Does the name Joseph ring any bells?
You were the one in the cell next to mine.
Quite so.
And Vander reaches out to hold his hand. This is a handshake, but it's something more than that. It's the connection they shared returned.
He instantly takes your hand and grasps it in exactly the same manner he did when you were in the cells. And there is a moment of dawning realization in his eyes as they narrow, and his face creaks into a small smile. Well met, friend.
Brother. I still don't have your name, though.
Well, you could call me the Blazing Heron, but perhaps my real name is more appropriate than my Rojan name. My name is Gideon Octavius Zeno Denothlian, the first son of Denothlia, member of the first chapter of Rojan, of the lineage of Fabian the Conqueror, and, if you're so inclined, the 16th King of Cantioch in the 10 Realms.
Dude!
Pleasure to meet you.
What just happened?
Oh my god.
And we will end it there.
Oh, no!
Wow, okay.
Good lord.
Dom knows how to cliffhanger.
I've got a lot of thinking to do.
Oh, God, we're going to have to tell him about his grandson. And I've got his crown, but it's really useful.
You've been listening to Dice Company's Small Embers, starring Dave Windust as Petren Oakflower, Charlie Blackadder as Vander Finnick, Lou Liz as Bramble Winterset, Alex Morrison as Seek Sorrow, and Harry King as Talk, with Tom Patrick as your Dungeon Master.
The humans of Dice Company would like to thank the following sweethearts for their support: Corey Mack, Dave Patterson, Boy Genius, Zero Nova, Sepulchre Stennett, Marky B, Jenny the War Camel, Stephen Sikora, Nori Gosler, Mickey Arnold, Happy Daddy Scotty, Tika, Rabbi Camel, Team Stay Toxic, Path Pursuit, Paris Pakar, Julia Zeno, Shovels, Queenie, and an extra special thanks to our Council of Rojan, the Red Right Hand, ShelbyKat, purveyor of exceptional dice, S.J. Phionics, Zeus Legion, Richard Ungermas, Mama Strange, Axel Runholm, and Chris from North London.
Hello.
That was a revelation, wasn't it?
He's good, isn't he, that Dobby?
Yeah. Too good.
The thing is, you know for a fact, there's like, it's always been that guy who's that statue. You can imagine with some people, like who the statue is would change as the
thing went on, yeah.
But I'm confident that that's always been that same guy in there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And the second Tok, or older Tok, I'm pretty sure that's always been a thing as well. Which is why, when I was talking about how old Tok was, it really messed up Dom's plans.
Oh, because he's got an older brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder who the other statues are.
Well, there's another 4, I think, at least, isn't there? But like, so we know Squirrel was one, but it's really strange they've all got the same pose.
Yeah.
It's like, I kind of want to interrogate this guy and find out why he was turned to stone, because obviously Seraphina was turned to stone because she cast too many level 9 spells in a small amount of time, and was turned to stone by the god of magic or something, I think.
I'm guessing because there's a number of Rosians who have been turned to stone. Pretty sure Joseph is an enemy to Rosians, likes to capture them, experiment, then turn them to stone, would be my guess.
True, although Seraphina was in the exact same pose but was turned to stone by a known other entity.
Yeah, but I do think that
it's also a thing.
This guy was in the set. I think this would have been Vander's fate too, had he not escaped.
Yeah.
I think that if you're Joseph, you want to take your little lab rats, do all the experiments, and when they're useless, you just want to kind of distill them or put them on ice.
There was something in their notes, wasn't there, about like trying to find what's his name? Lucian Winter was like very promising. It's like he's trying to see.
Oh yeah, suitable or unsuitable. Yeah.
To see like what their kind of, I don't know, almost like their pain tolerance is.
I was also thinking, you go back to Shale, old Joseph was there, wasn't he? And he was commanding that group of ne'er-do-wells, and they were looking for Benny.
Ooh, hang on, there's another status.
I think Benny's ripe for a stone cast. I reckon he's going to get tortured and turned to stone if he's not careful, sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
He's careful, don't worry.
He's the only one listed as contained, I think. Last known location, Inquisition.
Who's that, sorry?
Who is that? That is redacted.
Whose last known location is on Goresh? Because the Emperor found one, didn't he, outside that ziggurat where he was just with thingy, Alexa.
That is true.
The ziggurat.
As he calls it.
None that I can see. Oh no, hang on, there is one. Hang on, one of the originals. Hang on, who's that? That is... Sorry, it's not... Shadowblade, Lysander Lurgan.
Oh yeah, I reckon that's him.
Oh.
Could be then, yeah.
Feels like a hit. Feels like the DM's secret story is unraveling.
Talk me through that bit again, Harry. I was just trying to make sense of the spreadsheet at the same time.
Well, Chuck was thinking that they're being frozen by Joseph because that's his nemesis and he's very, egocentric.
Is that his fucking explainer?
No, it is a reasonable thing. So basically, on the spreadsheet, it has what happened to all the Rojan, or at least whoever was in the whoever's on the Vox Domini thought was happening. Basically, there's a whole bunch of different Rojan. We know that one of them was not turned to Shadow Vanguard, one of the original chapter of Rojan, and one of them on the ship on the thing is their name's redacted, but the last known location is not redacted. It says Inquisition and contained. And Mastery of Warfare, trained by the Dawn Rider. I mean, that does sound an awful lot like Gideon. But then there's another one with last known location, Goresh, which would explain Cyril Highmore, last known location, Frost Hollow. Interesting.
Okay.
Unsuitable.
I feel like you were just saying that so you could say unsuitable.
That was entirely...
Jingo Merrychap. Ingram. Didn't we find a book by Jingo Merrychap?
Yes, we did.
It wasn't Love and Lava, was it?
We did.
Wasn't it alongside like CB's Finds a Lover?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, as well, is I was asking... I did suspect that at the time, because Tok was taught by Jingo. So... But this is before I knew what the Rojan were, so, you know...
And Anna Vanderkilt is still alive. Presumably Clara's sister?
Who? Clara
Anna...
Clara Vanderkilt is not alive. It's deceased.
No, Anna Vanderkilt.
Oh, Anna Vanderkilt. Where's that? Down.
It's line 10, Starborn. So that might be like Benny's aunt or sister or cousin or brother.
Already anything.
Oh, it's just listed as missing rather than alive. Okay, cool. Yeah.
I'm saying different words to see how Tom responds to each of them.
Where was she missing? Where was she last seen?
Novu City Athlon.
Nouveau City.
No, hang on. Novu City Athlon, yeah. There's also someone in here that I'm pretty sure we got information that they're alive, but they're listed as dead, which might mean that our information is old, or it might mean that they don't know.
So there it is. That has been waiting in the wings.
For a long time, I imagine, yeah.
Long time.
We should go back to Athlon and find the Terror Chicken one.
So the last, I mean, Augustus never lived to see it, first of all.
That is genuinely makes me sad.
Yeah. It's starting to feel like Petren's story is that of the woman that swallowed the fly. Constantly summoning a more evil demon to kill the evil demon that he's entangled with.
And strangely, despite not having thought about that story for like 25 years, I think that's the third time it's come up in this recording.
It's called The Undefined.
It's
the TBD.
Right. I've got a name, I just want to reveal it in a cool way. Stupid robot.
Actually, as part of your reveal over these 2 days, Tok has gifted you a couple of things. One, a bicorn captain's hat. And two, some armor. Full plate, in fact. And both of them are magical.
Bicorn hat feels like pretty intense shade to me.
That feels like a banana hat to me, but
I mean, I'm going to wear it at a jaunty angle, like a kind of pantomime Napoleon. It's exactly the look I go for in real life as well. Not to be confused with my How to Be a Paladin.
There's no notes on that page. It's a blank page. Yeah, blank page. Weird.
It actually starts by saying start Audacity and export as mono. All good paladins do that above all else.
actually, can I use a spell as well? I can't, can I? For double move?
Yeah, if it's a bonus action, you can.
No.
You can. No.
No, sorry.
Oh.
20.
He's rolled a 50 on 4d10.
Oh my god, that would have been amazing. Yeah, well.
Fair enough.
Fireball on the edge of a cliff feels like.
Maybe I can collect his brain.
Gross.
Harry's really got to me, hasn't he?
He has. He's right there.
Sorry, Charlie, I interrupted you mid-flow. As he stands next to Vander, he says, what does he say?
Something really cool, I hope.
I'll tell you about them as well.
I would expect nothing less. And
It'll bounce straight off.
Zero fucks given.
and if you make enemies, Petren, I promise.
Lore.
Thanks for listening. Please consider supporting Dice Company on Patreon, where for the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to a whole other show, Extra Roll, as well as an ad-free listening experience. The Dice Company Discord server, along with our socials, can be found on our link tree in the show notes. If you enjoyed this chapter, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to recommend us to your friends. If you didn't like it, recommend us to your enemies. And we'll see you next time on Dice Company.